map early. So we were around the whole U.S. So everybody that's in the Midwest is going to make a lot of sense today. Why it's so violent in that Midwest. And I'm not going to just do no lecture just about the fight in the Illini. I'm going to do one about Florida Seminoles, Billy Bo, a couple of these, because these are individuals, they actually exist that you need to know about. All right, but you got to understand we are gods. And I always talk to you all about the Great Invasion of 1492, right? So I talked to you about this moment before pre-colonialization when we were in our God phase, when we were like, flying is so beneath us. That's why when guys ask, like, well, we flying. Well, we flying. That's nothing. We created everything. You get what I'm saying? So when we had our Oregon energy pyramids and our pyramids that were made out of pure crystals, and our trees were still humongous, and the trees would sing out frequencies and things like that. When we were still in that phase, when we were still red and green and blue because we was breathing hydrogen before they invaded our planet, before they started spraying the chemtrails and the Morgellons and the oxygen in the atmosphere. You get what I'm saying? Like, I speak about that time in here a lot. I speak about pre-colonialization, so you got to understand this time period too. Now, after 1492, which is pre-Great Invasion, pre-colonialization, after 1492, that's when we begin to fall in frequency. All right, so I'm going to do some lectures on Egypt and stuff like that because it's a planet called Egypt. And the place they call it Egypt is not even really Egypt. It's an actual planet called Egypt. But that's a whole different lecture. All right? So, but what I want you all to understand is they broke us down. Before we got to where we are today, all right, we were at the top. Okay, we were at the top. So after we were betrayed and we began to fall in frequency, all right, because the human beings, they betrayed us by, the Moors betrayed us by teaching the human beings our access codes by ancient technology. The human beings then turned around and gave it to the Pleiadians and the Draconians who used it against us, and they began to blow our second sun out the atmosphere and everything, right? So then we began to fall in frequency. They started to blow our pyramid towers up, destroy our trees, all right? We had huge, humongous trees. For those of you who haven't watched the video, you need to go watch it. It's called Trees, Mountains, Lies, all right? But trees, all the giant trees still exist. You just see them, they just cut. But these are where all your mountain ranges and mountaintops come from. And when you go through, we just hit 1,000. We 1,000 deep in class, y'all. 1,000 deep. Woo! Shout out to the university. All right, yeah though. But when you go through the west coast or the western part of the country, you see all these mountain ranges. And these mountain ranges, if you're not aware, you'll think they're just mountains. But if you was to go look at Google Maps and look at the top of any mountain, you'll see that these are tree stumps. So go watch that video. It's on this website. Go watch it. All right. But, okay, so this is during that time when they was cutting the trees down and doing all this stuff, right? We scattered amongst the land. This is why in the Bible they tell you about the Tower of Babel and how it fell, and then we were scattered amongst the land. They're really talking about us, gods, Anunnaki gods, all right? We were scattered amongst the land. And when we became scattered amongst the land, we began to become tribal. Because before we were scattered amongst the land, we were never tribal at all. So you got to understand where Native Americans come from. Before that, this is us, right? But before we were scattered amongst the land, we weren't tribal. We communicated using telepathy, and our chips that connected to these tall pyramid towers that we had that were made out of all different types of sapphires, rubies, crystals, tourmalines, all of these different things. I've always said this, right? All right, so now we got scattered amongst the land. Think about it. People that were using telepathy, we were using telepathy, so we can't use it anymore. So what we did, we started ganging up. We're like, okay, well, we can't use telepathy no more, but we're going to gang up. We were still aware what had happened to us. We fell in frequency. We began to turn these copper complexions. We began to lose our greens and our luminous greens and blues and these beautiful colors that we vibrated, right? Because the frequency of the planet began to become lower. This was all by design, okay? So this is how you get to that period of what they like to call Native Americans. And they always taught you that the Native Americans was a separate group of people from you, all right? Because they wanted black people and Latino people to believe that Latino people are Latino people. Black people are Africans that come from Africa that were brought across the water, which is a lie. And that Indians are just Indians who were killed off. And that the ones that were left, they were given land and free reservations to live on. This is all bullshit. This is all fucking bullshit, lies. All right? Blacks and Latinos are the same species. Genetics will prove that, right? Now, when you talk about these Indians, The people that they give the land to and get a free reservation to, these are not Indians. These are white people. And that's not nothing against white people. I'm just saying, these are human beings. If they are not human beings, they are Mexicans. Remember, they are Mexicans, which are a form of human beings still. Right? Now, look at this. We still good over there, babe? All right, thank y'all. The wifey let me know that everything look good on the screen for y'all. That you can still hear me good, everything clear? Cool. All right, so look at him right here, right? He looks like what you would call a Mexican American. That is not the way your Native Americans looked. All right, and I don't even want to use the term Native American because we were never native to America. All right. Now we were darker like that. You see that book where it say famous Indian tribes? You see that top picture? We were more like that. All right. Now, when you're looking at us today, you're looking at the Indians. Okay, so for you to understand how we got to that phase is because we became tribal after we fell in frequency. Okay, so now, once we became tribal, we had many tribes amongst us, many great tribes amongst us, right? Many great tribes amongst us that were strong warrior tribes, full of, still in tune with magical abilities, still in tune with ancient knowledge, all right, and knew how to use it against these Spanish conquistadors. This is why if you listen to a lot about magic or stuff like that, or you read about magic or you read about, just anything dealing with the Native Americans, they always talk about how they had these magical abilities in a way. They talk about them being able to dance and make it rain. They talk about them being real spiritual and communicating with spirits and things of that nature, right? Because this is us. This is us they talking about. These people, we never look like this. This is a lie. These people who they are telling you are Indians, we never looked like this. Even when we became tribal, we did not look like this. All right? We look the same way we do today. All right? Same way we do today, that's how we looked at then. All right? Now, once you understand this truth about who the Native Americans really were, that there was no such thing as Native American. All right? Look at all these Indian tribes. This is the picture right here. Here, man. Look at this. This right here is a picture of all the different Native American Indian tribes that was on present-day America. All right? You believe that they killed all these tribes off? No, they didn't. They simply moved in, invaded us, went to war with certain tribes, killed off certain powerful tribes, and then renamed us African Americans, Latin Americans. Then renamed this whole land America when it was really just a part of Atlantis. Okay? This is a very important period in time that you need to understand where we rebelled. And it's hitting from you because they got you believing that Native Americans are separate from you. But each and every one of you can go back a generation, 2, 3, 4, and everybody gonna say they got, hey, my grandmother is Cherokee, my granddad was full-blooded Navajo or whatever. Every black person or Latino person you talk to can tell you the same story. Why? Because we are the Native Americans. All right? Hold on. Camera on me for a second, Jim. Thank you. Back here, Jim. We going. Jim. Stay right there. Stay. You too close. Back right there. Thank you, Jim. Thank you. All right. Now, a lot of people don't understand this concept, but you must grasp it. That there were never no such thing as motherfucking Native Americans. You looking at them. Now feel that pain. Add that on top of the pain you already got knowing about the shit you went through just as a black person. Now add on top of what the fuck they told you about the Native Americans. Add that on top of that. Because it was your ancestors they told you about in school. But they hid you from you by telling you that these are a completely different group of people and that you come from overseas, over the water. No, those Africans over there, those are our people too, but they were just already over there doing them. We was over here. If you were born over here right now, your ass is over here. in this portion of the realm, of the land, of Atlantis. Let's erase the bullshit. Let's eradicate the fuckery now. You must know your history as an Anunnaki god before the Great Invasion of 1492, and you must know your history as Anunnaki gods and goddesses after the fall. How you got to where you got to today. How do we get to this point? All right? This is serious stuff right here now. This is serious, right? This is serious what I'm about to show y'all tonight. Because you got to understand what they did to us. These are they sit here and tell us about the Native Americans and don't even show us us. They show us other motherfuckers. And then gave them other motherfuckers all the free land that's supposed to came to us. Now, if you take all the free land that the government promised the Native Americans, they never gave them. They gave it to, because we are the Native Americans. We the breed descendants, all right, of these tribes, all right? Because we are the Americans, so we are the Native Americans, but I'm just saying, we are the Indians that they lied about. We are the tribes. They just took our tribal names from us and renamed us. African Americans, Latin Americans. But before that, you was Cherokee. You was Potawatomi. You was a part of the Illinois Confederacy. You was Seminole. You was Navajo. Aztec, Inca. For those of you overseas, you were Ashanti, Zulu. We became tribes after they attacked our planet. And in these tribes, we still knew who the enemy was. This is what your ancestors fought against. This is what you must remember so that you can intact that warrior spirit in you. So you can remember. There's nothing to fear. This is the accumulation of all that has happened to us as a species. You must remember. How can you remember if portions of your history are being taken from you? They got you believing that the Indians were somebody else. Now, after they killed all the Indians, right? Which they didn't do. After they killed a lot of Indians, and then they called us Indians, but after they killed a lot of us, Indians, right? And enslaved most of us, right? Then they renamed us African Americans. Then sent some of us across seas and back. They sent some of us across seas as Indian slaves. After they conquered us, they sent some of us across seas as Indian slaves. And then once we got over there, they reclassified us as Indian slaves. Then sent us to Africa. Then when we got to Africa, we were reclassified as African slaves. Then sent back over here. Just so they can have their bullshit story about the Middle Passage, which never existed. Let me see the lighter, babe. Just so they can have their bullshit story, guys. Y'all hear me? Reflections about the Middle Passage. To make us believe that we not from here. Not wasn't on this land first. All those people with carbon in their skin on this planet. All right. That was over here. Because when they sent out these Spanish conquistadors, when they went out on their missions, they went to different parts of our planet, of this realm rather, and attacked. They went east, west, and attacked all at once. Okay, so now that we passed that point, now that we know that who the Native Americans really were, for those who didn't know, yes, that's us. That's your history. Before you were nit. Today you just a nigga, or a bitch, or a thot, or a pimp, or a good old employee. See what I'm saying? But before they called you that, you was an African American slave. Latinos was too. Latino came out of nowhere. After they freed the slaves, then they came over Latino. Nigga, you never heard the term Latino till they freed the slaves. Right. More division. More division. Real talk. That's why like Latino. What? But that's us. We was all in there together. Don't let them fool you. The genetics don't lie. Right? So, now that we know who the real Indians was, and as you can see, they didn't give us none of our shit. All the people that's living on our shit, like they say, they call them $5 Indians. That's true. That's true. I heard Dr. Phil Valentine call them $5 Indians. I like that term. Heard Dan Calloway call them that too. I like that term. Because that's really what they is. They not us. We the Indians. Y'all ain't gave her shit. Y'all got us thinking y'all taught us in school that y'all killed all the Indians off and brought us over here after y'all killed the Indians off. Which, if you think about it, that don't even make sense. Who the fuck finna go? Listen, if they wanted slaves, if Europe wanted slaves, think about this, y'all. They teach you in school that Europe wanted slaves, right? Why would they kill off the Indians if they wanted slaves? You already got slaves. Why not just kill off the Indians that's resistant and enslave them Indians right there and make them your slaves? Who the fuck finna go to war with a whole land of Indians? Have to kill off all these Indians. Then gotta go back overseas and go to war with Africans to get these Africans to put them on ships to bring them back and forth. The lies in now. The lies in now. You hear me? For real though. The lies in now. You feel me? You know what I'm saying? Shout out to the university. We had 2,500 live viewers. But yeah though. The bullshit ends now. Who the fuck would do that? And we didn't know in school, y'all. We wasn't paying attention. That shit was boring because they was our soul. Once again, your soul knows all truths. Remember that? Etheric bodies. I taught y'all this. Your soul was like, man, that's bullshit. I don't want to hear that shit. And you didn't pay attention. And then you just mark some shit down to get it right. You don't want to get in trouble. You know what I'm saying? You want to hear your mama mouth. You want to go outside. You know what I'm saying? You ain't had time for all that. You had summertime shit to go get involved in. You wasn't. You trying to go kick it. And you ain't pay attention to that shit. No, you didn't, because I did. We did. But our soul wouldn't let us. And I know y'all laughing. I can feel you laughing at home. That's how powerful. I can feel you laughing. I can feel y'all laughing. Like, y'all is crazy. Look, honestly, this is the truth. You hear me? Oh, no, we getting deep. We ain't scratch the surface. I got to let niggas know who the Indians is first. Niggas got to know they the Indians first. Before we can even go into, before we can even get into Chief Chicago. Oh, yeah, we finna get gangster. We finna get real shit. Gonna make a lot of sense right now tonight. This is hitting history, hitting gemstones. You get what I'm saying? We the stone that the building refused, y'all. You hear me? It refused us. Now everything's smacking them in their face because it's like we rising, awakening. That beast waking, them titans waking up inside of us, especially if you ain't go get vaccinated. Them titans boiling inside.
That's what you got to erase.
You would have got vaccinated. You can't rise. You can't do shit but bubble. So all you can do is bubble like hot grease.
You know what
you do. Heat, but you gonna rise.
When you draw,
the most rising you gonna do, you gonna rise, then sketchy. Bubble out.
Your work. That way you don't have to erase so much.
You know what I'm saying? So look, now that we know we the Indians, cool. Let's get into these guys.
You can sketch real life.
Now that we know we the Indians, so more lies. We never looked it like that, class. We didn't look like that, so I don't know why they line us like that. Okay, so this is all the land we had. We had all these tribes, right? We got all these different tribes. So us, current day African Americans or Latin Americans, which are your Puerto Ricans,
save me a whole lot of time.
You know, your Latin Americans over here in this part of the land. All right,
you're gonna get around.
We were all scattered in these different tribes. Right. Okay, so when Europe was trying to conquer this part of the land from us, all right. they had to carve out the land based upon the strongest tribe. So they invaded our land, right? They invaded our land, and they scattered out the strongest tribes. All right? And what they discovered was that up in this now present-day Midwest region was a tribe called the Illinois that was very, very, very powerful. They controlled a lot of land and basically the heart of this whole little realm, because they discovered that all these tribes were working in synchronization together in a cohesive unit as one. All right? This was Europe discovered when they first invaded present-day America. All these tribes was working together, communicating, and they was trying to figure out how they were doing it. So basically, they scattered out and were able to find out that the whole land was basically ran by three main tribes. You had the Florida Seminoles down here that was running the whole basically south. All right. You had the Illinois in the Midwest. All right. And you had a lot of Navajo. All right. Up in the West Coast area.
What you trying to do, huh? Whoa.
Coming up out of present day Mexico, all up South America, all up through the Inca, all up through there, all up down here. All right. All right, that's how it was. So,
look at mine.
Now, this is where we get deep. All right, I want to show y'all something. Today we talking about the Illinois Confederation.
Like this.
All right, and the Illinois Confederation was composed of, like they tell you, the Illinois Confederation, also referred to as the Illini, were made up of 12 to 13 tribes who lived in the Mississippi River Valley. Okay? So it was composed of 12 to 13 tribes, but 12 to be exact, because you know Wikipedia going to try to spin you. They're going to try to spin you, okay? So I'm just using them for certain references, not everything. But this Illinois tribe was a very, very powerful tribe, okay? Very, very powerful tribe. All right, let me pull up the map. The Illinois controls all of this. Okay. Now, the Florida Seminoles had Florida, and they would work together with the Cherokee to control the South. But the Illinois was composed of 12 different tribes, and all of the present-day Midwest was their land. And this is hidden history. This is hidden history. This is hidden history, right? They'll never tell you this, right, in school. They'll never teach this in school.
Crown. Need some of them. Something to look at.
Smoke good every day.
Patterns.
See, you get high frequencies. Learn the truth. We get high and talk about the truth in here. So, all of this was owned and ran by the Illinois Confederation all the way down to Little Rock, Arkansas. Okay? So, the Illinois Confederation, these are the states they had. It was 12 tribes. Each tribe had a state. And the crazy thing is, each state now today is named after the chief of each tribe or a tribe. Okay, so the headquarters of the Illinois Confederacy was in present-day Chicago, Illinois. That was headquarters. This is why they named the state Illinois. Okay? Present-day Chicago was the headquarters of the Illinois, which was one of the strongest tribes, and they had the biggest land. All right? They had more land than the Cherokee. Okay? Because the Cherokee had present-day Georgia, Alabama, Louisiana, and Mississippi. That's only 4 states. The Illinois had 12 states. All right? This tribe wasn't nothing to play with. This is why they called them the Fighting Illini in basketball. Hidden history. All right, we finna get deeper, though. We finna get deeper. Oh, yeah, we finna connect a lot of dots. So all of this land belonged to a powerful tribe called the Illinois that was slaughtered in these states. Every single state, they slaughtered the Illinoisian to take over this land that they now call the Midwest. This is a whole region that was of people that was slaughtered, of us, our ancestors. You see where we're going with it? There's a lot of land now. Look at all them states. Remember Remember, before they were states, that was just all land of the Illinois Confederation. 12 tribes, 12 states. Wisconsin, Minnesota, North Dakota, South Dakota, Nebraska, Kansas, Missouri, Iowa, Illinois, which is the headquarters, which is where I sit right in the center, Indiana, Michigan, and Ohio. All of this was Illinois land. Illinois Confederacy. Now, why does this matter? Because you're going to notice something. That in majority of these states is very violent. When you talking about Ohio, Cleveland, Youngstown, Columbus, Dayton, these are violent areas. Then you got Detroit, Flint, Lamb. The whole Michigan was the land. These are violent areas. Gary, Indianapolis. All right? Very violent cities. Chicago, Illinois. Milwaukee. St. Louis. Little Rock, Arkansas was a part of the Illinois Confederacy. All right? You got all of Missouri. Okay? You got Kansas. You're going through Nebraska to South North Dakota. Minnesota, Minneapolis is violent. All right? Mm-hmm. So some of the most violent places on the map right now, even present day, come up out of this Illinois Confederacy. All right? And the reason being is because of all of this energy that's still boiling here. All right? These people were slaughtered, killed. The Illinois was. This was their land first. Okay? And remember how you heard about those stories as a kid about ancient Indian burial grounds? Basically, this is a burial ground. When they killed our ancestors who were all a part of this Illinois Confederacy, these are our ancestors regardless, but definitely people that were reincarnated here in these states. All right? If you were born after 1950 and you reincarnated in any of these states, you have a natural warrior spirit in you. You know why? Because you are a returner that were a part of one of these tribes during when that slaughtering took place. Now you got some souls that return and they were part of other tribes, even all the way overseas. But we just talking about the Illinois right now. So this is a spiritual concept I'm bringing to you too. All right? Anybody born after 1950, right now, because right now we are in the age of Aquarius. All souls coming back are indigo souls. Remember that, period. But for those people, those souls and spirits with carbon in their skin that were born in these states after the year 1950, all right, majority of these individuals, majority of you, although you don't remember this, have experienced past lives as part of this tribe, the Illinois. And the elites understand all this. They understand energy. They understand that we never die. So they have been harnessing a lot of this energy using negative vortexes to keep the energy circulating amongst each other. So the Illinois was one of the toughest warrior tribes that the Spanish fought against. It took them forever to get this land. Just like with the Florida Seminoles. It didn't happen overnight. So all these warrior spirits, and now they are warring with each other because they have forgotten the reason they are truly here to war. This is the true secret behind the violence in like a Chicago or a Gary or a St. Louis or Cleveland, Cincinnati, Detroit, Michigan, Milwaukee. All right? Places this is ancient warrior energy. It's a spiritual thing. And they are using negative vortexes to keep these young warriors killing amongst each other. All right? Because all that energy is theirs in our souls. So it has to go somewhere. So they channel it to make us channel that energy toward each other. But all of this land belonged to the Illinois. All right? And I'm going to tell you where each tribe was at and where their land was today. We finna go through it. But the chief of the entire Confederacy, let's go back, the Illinois Confederation, the chief of the entire tribe, because they don't say it on Wikipedia, his name was Chicago. Okay, so the chief of the Illinois Confederation, it shows you right here, was made up of 12 to 13 tribes. There was 12 tribes, I told you to be exact. The chief of the entire tribe, the entire confederation, his name was Chief Chicago. All right, so he led the whole war against these Spanish conquistadors, and he wasn't no punk. He wasn't no joke. Understand that the Illinois, they had all these states. They slaughtered many, up to 300,000 soldiers. They slaughtered a lot of soldiers who came to try to take over this land before they finally died. All right, before they finally gave in and couldn't hold them off any longer. Okay, so now I want to show you how they hid this history in Chicago, right? They named Chicago because this is the area where Chief Chicago was actually killed at. All right? Chief Chicago was actually killed right in Chicago where President Chicago is. And each tribe had land. So let me first off, let me name the tribes. Let me name the tribes and let me name their land for you, okay? Let me break it down for you all. All right? So this is the Illini tribe. I'm finna run through them. Okay, you had 12. You had the Kaskaskia. All right, the Kaskaskia, they had all of Wisconsin and present-day Milwaukee. The Kaskaskia. All right, this was a tribe. One of the tribes that was in Illinois. Okay? You had the Cahokia. The Cahokia was in present-day St. Paul, Minneapolis. That's tribe number 2. Okay? Tribe number 3 was Chief Chicago's headquarter tribe, which was the Peoria tribe, and they were in present-day Chicago. All right? Present-day Chicago, all of that land, all the way down, was all of the Peoria. Okay? They were called the Peoria tribe. And they were led by Chief Blackhawk, but he was the chief of the Peoria tribe, but the chief of the whole tribe of the Illinois Confederacy, remember they were 12 tribes deep, was Chief Chicago. All right, stay with me. All right, so the third tribe that we have, let's start again. The first tribe, we're going to name all 12 tribes and show you their states. I'm going to break it down to where they are today. So we got 12 tribes that made up the Illinois Confederacy. And as you see today, it's 12 states. Look, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. You see how they hide the truth in plain sight? The Midwest today is still composed of 12 states. And that's because it was 12 tribes. This is all the land. These motherfuckers ain't shit, though. They put our history right in our face, but they hide it, though. All right, they know like, okay, you will never look this deep because you already thinking Native American somebody else. Nah, this you. This your ancestors. We talking 8, 9, 10 generations ago. You get what I'm saying? This is real. This is deep stuff right now. So, all right, hidden history. So in present-day Wisconsin, this was the land of the Kaskaskia Indians. All right, these were all black people, Latino black people and Latino people. All right, you want to call them that. All right. Now, in the land, the second tribe was the Cahokia tribe. All right, they had all of Minneapolis. There's even pyramids in Illinois that they call the Cahokia pyramids to try to throw you off. All right, to try to throw you off if you ever do look. But the Cahokia land was in Minnesota. Okay, they had all of St. Paul. These are esoteric facts. I know this because, like I say, Grandmaster Teacher of the 8th Universe. I get shown these downloads to give to y'all. I'm here to help y'all remember, okay? So, the third tribe was the Peoria. This was the headquarters of the entire Confederation. Was right here in Chicago. All right? And it was led by Chief Blackhawk. Okay? The Peoria tribe, present-day Chicago. All right? In all of Illinois. All right? Now, the next tribe you had was the Tamara. They had all of North Dakota. That's tribe number 4. Tribe number 5 was the Moena. They had all of South Dakota. All right? The 6th tribe of the Illini tribe. All right, they were composed of 12 tribes. The 6th tribe was the Michigami. The Michigami had all of present-day St. Louis, Missouri, all the way down to Little Rock, Arkansas. So that was all the Michigami land. That was the 6th tribe. The 7th tribe was the Chepo. All right, they had all of Topeka and Wichita, present-day Wichita, Kansas. All right, Chief Wichita was actually the chief. Wichita was the chief of the Chapo tribe, which is now present-day Kansas and all that. All right. Remember, these people that stole this land from us are not that creative. They lack souls, so they really kept the same names and just get what I'm saying. That's what makes it so sad though. But they hid this from us though. Okay, so now the 8th tribe was in Iowa. This was the Chinko. Okay, and I'm calling this for short. You can look at the names; they're a little longer than that, but I'm breaking it down for y'all. The Chinko. Okay. Iowa, Des Moines, Davenport, all up in here, present-day Iowa. That land was the land of the Chinko. Okay, then in Nebraska, you had a tribe called the Kokotano who had all of Omaha and Lincoln. All right, the Kokotano. They had all of Nebraska. All right. Now the 10th tribe was the SB McKeon, and they had all of Kansas City and Topeka. They just had Kansas. So they, out of all the tribes, they had the smallest land because they had what Kansas City and Topeka is at. That little bit of land, that belonged to the SB Minkia. All right? They had that little land. The 11th tribe, which is a hidden tribe, all right, and they go by the Morrow, and I'm going to show y'all this. I'm going to go to Wiki and show y'all these tribes too. But I'm telling it to y'all in my own words right now, and then we're going to go to Wiki and look it up. But the Morrow, they try to hide them in history as the Morrow. When we go look at the 11 to 12 tribes of the Illini, they're going to call them the Morrow, but it's the Potawatomi, all right? Now, the reason they don't want you to know that the Potawatomi is the Morrow tribe is because the Potawatomi had all of Detroit and Indianapolis. So the Potawatomi tribe, the Potawatomi, tribe, they had all of Michigan, Detroit, Michigan, all through Indianapolis. And they tried to hide them as tomorrow because they don't want you to know, people to know about this connection. Because if you connect these, the Potawatomi, the Potawatomi tribe to Indianapolis and Michigan, you could then connect them to the rest of this. All right, this is how big the Illini Confederacy was, though. Okay, and then the 12th tribe was the Shawnee. Okay, and the Shawnee is another big tribe, and the Shawnee had all of Indiana and Ohio. Okay, so that covers Cleveland, Cincinnati, Columbus, Dayton, and these 12 tribes made up the Fighting Illini as they knew them, as they became to be known later. All right, so look, let's bag it up though. Let's bag it up. Let's look at it. Let's go. Let's see. Let's look at the tribes. Boom. Formation. The Illinois Confederation comprised 12 separate tribes who share common language and culture. These tribes are the Kaskaskia, the Cahokia, the Peoria, the Tamara, the Moena, the Michigami, the Chapo, the Chinko, the Kokotano, the Espaminkia, the Morrow, and the Tapo. Now look at the Morrow. They hidden as the Morrow and the Tapo, but that's really the Shawnee, okay? And that's really the Potawatomi, the Potawatomi tribe. Now let me show you why they hid them. Let's go to something. Look at this. When you put in what tribes were in Detroit, Michigan, look what comes up. Detroit occupies the contemporary and ancestral homelands of 3 Anishinaabe nations of the Council of 3 Fires. The Ojibwe, the Ottawa, and the Potawatomi, what I tell you. Through the Treaty of Detroit. You see it? You see it. This is why they are hidden, right? As the Tama or the Morrow. Because they don't want you to know that the Potawatomi, which was a powerful tribe, they was part of the 3 Fires, were in Detroit. You see this? What tribes were in Detroit, Michigan? Now you see this, right? The Potawatomi. Now watch this. We finna put in now what tribes were in Indiana? And watch. The Potawatomi. The Potawatomi is their name, y'all. We researching this live. We're in Indiana. Watch this. If they keeping it real, it's gonna pop up. What native tribes? What I tell you? Look, what Native American tribes were in Indiana? Now we just seen the Potawatomi was in where? Detroit, right? Now check this out. Among the major tribes that lived in what is now Indiana, were the Delaware, the Kickapoo, the Miami, the Mound Builders, the Piakashaw, the Potawatomi, Shawnee. There they go, Potawatomi. All right? So they don't want people to know that the Potawatomi were in Indianapolis and Detroit. Because if they know that, then they could connect that they were a part of this huge Illinois Confederation. All right? The Potawatomi had Michigan. And they were Indianapolis. And then Shawnee were in Indianapolis, Indiana too. So Shawnee had the other half of Indiana and Ohio. Now check this out. Look up what tribes were in Indiana. Shawnee, right? Now watch this. What tribes were in Ohio? I said the Shawnee, right? Now what tribes were in Ohio? What tribes were in Ohio? Among the tribes, look, what tribes were in Ohio? Among the tribes occupying the land in Ohio were the Shawnee. I ain't got to finish. And look, and they in Detroit too. The Ojibwe again, there they go. When they in Detroit too? Yeah, because this whole land was the Illinois Confederation. You see what I'm saying? Hidden history. All of this is the Illinois Confederation. So now, all right, that brings me here to the Chicago fire, this great Chicago fire story that they tell people that was born and raised in Chicago, right? Now, if you from Chicago, they tell you this story about this great Chicago fire that took place. And they talk about how this lady had a cow and she knocked the lamp over and the whole Chicago caught on fire. Oh, Chicago, and they had to rebuild it. But in reality, that's a motherfucking lie. All right? That never happened. They say the Great Chicago Fire was a conflagration that burned in the American city of Chicago during October 8th through October 10th, 1871. Now, they teach us this story in Chicago, right? Growing up in Chicago, we heard this story. I heard the story in school about the lady. She knocked the fucking lamp over. Let them tell it. All right, let's see. Let's see if they say the beginning. That the lady's supposed to knock the, I forgot her name. Here we go. Check it out. Origin. The fire is claimed to have started at about 8:30 p.m. on October 8th in or around a small barn belonging to the O'Leary family that bordered the alley behind 137 DeCoven Street. The shed next to the barn was the first building to be consumed by the fire. City officials never determined the exact cause of the blaze, but the rapid spread of the fire due to a long drought in the prior summer, strong winds from the southwest, and the rapid destruction of the water pumping system explain extensive damage of the mainly wooden city structures. There has been much speculation over the years on a single start to the fire. The most popular tale blames Miss O'Leary's cow, who allegedly knocked over a lantern. Others state that a group of men were gambling inside the barn and knocked over a lantern. All right, anywhere it go, they trying to say she knocked over a lantern and started a whole fire, right? And the whole fucking Chicago burnt down. This was before 1871. Now, they show you all these pictures showing that this is how Chicago looked before 1871 and before the fire, all right? This is Miss O'Leary house before the fire, right? But these are all lies. They done went back and took some pictures, wrote themselves in history. None of this shit took place, all right? They did have a big fire, but the fire had nothing to do with no cows. What they did was when they killed off all the Illinois, all right, the last battle was fought in Chicago by Chief Chicago. They was the last ones they got. When the Spanish came, they killed the ones in Ohio first, Indiana, Michigan, then they got Wisconsin, Minnesota. They got everything first. The last state to give in was the state of Illinois. All right, and that was Chief Chicago, and he was there fighting with the Peoria and a few more tribes that had scattered together because so many of us had been killed or captured, enslaved or whatever. So what really happened was, in that final battle, when they killed so many of us off, they set the whole Chicago ablaze to hide all those dead bodies. Okay? They set the whole Chicago on fire to hide all those dead bodies. All right? And then they try to give us this story in school about this whole big fire that broke out, and which is why the whole Chicago caught on fire and had to be rebuilt. Because they had to rebuild Chicago. All right, Chicago looked totally different before 1871 in its fire. All right, and they had to rebuild it afterwards. But they rebuilt it over the bodies of all these dead Indians. and these Indians are us.
Believe it or
Okay,
not, that's what
so
I
this
learned.
is where
When
this
you
ancient
draw,
warrior spirit come from.
you
This
draw
in
from
Chicago,
your
this
inner
plague in
self, not from
Chicago,
what you
and that
see.
warrior spirit is really for them to rise against the oppressors.
When you
But
draw
they got
freehand, you
our
draw
people
from
under
your inner
black
self.
magic
So you
voodoo
might
spells,
start off
where they are using
thinking
this
you're going to
ancient
draw
warrior
something,
energy
but you
to
end
make
up
them hurt
drawing
each
something
other.
totally
All
different.
right, and they are not just doing this in Chicago;
why
they
that
doing
is?
this in every single
Because
state
your art come out
that's
of
a part of this Illinois
whether it's
Confederacy.
abstract
They know
or
that you
not.
are ancient souls and spirits. Most
You know
souls
what I'm
and spirits
saying?
go back to where they wanted to avenge
You can
themselves.
see
So if
one
you were a
picture,
part of this
but
Confederacy
when you
and
start
you died in
sketching
there
it,
and you
you
came
still
back to
gonna
avenge
draw
it,
what
you're going to come back in one of
your
these
soul
states.
telling you to
All
draw.
right? And the
It
elites
don't
know
necessarily
this.
have to be
And
that
not just
exact
with
picture,
this
though.
tribe. They do this down in Florida with the Florida
And
Seminole
that's what's
tribe.
called
They do this with all
drawing
different type of
freehand.
tribes. But we just talk
Or
about
all you
the
doing is
Illinois
just copying.
Confederacy
Am
right
I
now.
right or wrong?
All right? A very powerful tribe.
I'm saying
A
if
very
you drawing,
powerful
no,
tribe.
if you looking at a picture
A
and you drawing
huge
exactly
tribe.
what you see, you copying that,
And them taking
right?
this
Or
realm,
you copying
they
whatever
couldn't
you
did it
see.
without defeating the Florida Seminoles and the
You
Illinois.
sketching, yeah, but you
Those
sketching
are
whatever
two
you see.
tribes they had to get rid
But to
of.
make it come to
The
life
Florida
is to
Seminoles, I'm
put
doing an
your
election
own
on them next.
reality into
They
it.
were one tribe by
And
themselves,
that's where
though.
freehand
The Illinois
come
were
in.
composed of 12 different tribes.
So when
And
you
that's
say
why
you
all
drawing
this energy is
freehand,
still here today in these
you drawing
states.
from your soul.
That's why so much aggression and
When
violence
you
in these
drawing
states in this
from
area.
your
Old
mind and
ancient
from your
warrior
eyesight,
energy still
you
here.
sketching, you
But
copying.
they are not to be used amongst each other. They
You
are
know what I'm
supposed to be
saying?
used for the oppressor who
Because your
did what
soul
he
gonna
did.
make whatever picture that's on the
Oh, yeah,
inside
it
of
get
you
deep.
come out.
It get deep.
Or
And
whatever
this is why they
picture you
hide it,
see,
though.
your
Oh,
soul
this
is
is the
gonna
same
make
land. You
it
can call it
become
whatever
what
you
it
want to call
truly
it, but
is.
they cast
That it
up these old
recognize it
energies
as.
because they named the city Chicago after the chief. Did they
See,
named all these states after these dead
like it looked like her
Indians,
hands
which
moving.
are us? So
You see
that's
what I'm
like
saying? Because it got a 3D
spellcasting and
effect.
making mockery of us in a way.
So if you draw her
So that
hands, she colored
energy
in one
be
color,
fizzling,
then
and
draw
it's not
this and
just
color
there.
it in
This
another
is
color.
any land. We
It's
just
gonna
talking
look like
about it
her
right now.
hands were moving and they're
I'm
going.
just connecting these dots. Some of y'all never knew.
Draw her feet like sitting down, bended. You can't leave like all that space right there. You gotta make it.
All of this was all right. Just one tribe, one nation of 12 tribes moving as one.
She can, and she got long
To
legs.
fight off the Spanish who were trying to take our land.
Oh, she got to
So
do
this
just
energy
bring
still on us as a
legs
whole.
down there.
This ain't just start now. They've been doing this to us before African slavery because they did it to us when we was Native American
It's only
slaves.
weird
When they
because
called us
she
Native
didn't put the
Americans.
calves in. See how my
They was
calves
naming
are?
us Native
And then my
Americans. We
leg is
wasn't going
straight.
for that shit. We was fighting. We was rebelling.
Everybody's like that. Calf.
That's why a lot of our ancestors died. So when you talk about ancestors, your ancestors were African slaves and your ancestors were Native Americans. Because that's what
you also got
these
that
oppressors
muscle
did.
right there. So this will be that
But you know, in
muscle.
reality, we was
And the rest of it will
Anunnaki
be
gods
that
the whole time.
All
though.
she got to do is just bring that muscle over.
All right?
You see what I'm saying?
You just connecting
When you
dots.
bring that muscle over, then it's going to look like that's that
And this
whole
is karmic,
part of
and they
that
have to
leg.
pay for this karmic
And the
debt.
top part is supposed
If
to
they
be
did
bigger.
this, you know, they got to pay for this. This is what's going on the planet, and this is happening. Like I said, I'm gonna be breaking this down all over. We just started with the Midwest right now. This was the fighting Illini, Chief Chicago, Chief of Chiefs, one of the most vicious sect of native tribes that fended off these Spanish conquistadors. The fighting Illini and the Florida Seminoles, and that's why to this day they called them the fighting Illini. That's what that really meant.
Like this.
Especially those who watch like college. You ever wonder why they called them that? That's where that name comes from.
That's how you are when you going yo.
Right.
You shouldn't have like all this.
Because they put up a hell of a fight.
She just take it and
before
make
they
a loop
finally
over
took
so
the
it'll
land.
be the calf part of the leg.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? All you got to do is draw a line from here coming in. So
and see the oppressors,
right there.
They don't understand magic and spell casting the way we do. If they did, they would have never named this land after us. Indiana and Illinois and Chicago and West. Naming the name after these chiefs of these different tribes. You see what I'm saying? You can't do that.
Maybe y'all like
that energy gonna come back to bite you eventually. That's what's going on right now. See what I'm saying? It's deeper than you think, Reflections. It's all connected.
Right.
This is a war they will not win. This is
take
the
a line
ancient
and draw
war.
it
That's what I'm
over
trying
like
to get you to see. It's
Don't
the
that look
ancient
like the
war.
calf now?
This is the ancient war. This has been going on. This ain't new.
Short.
Add this on
Come
top
in like right there.
of everything they told you.
Right
you the
here.
Native Americans.
Like right up
and they
here.
sitting here showing you these people.
Right.
That ain't
you
how
still got to
we
draw
look.
the calf.
You looking at us right now. This is how we look.
Come up to about
you want to know how the Indians look? Let me remind you. Let me show you.
Her calf gonna come up to about right here. Yeah, her calf. Right. Now you see what I'm saying. Now don't it look more like a leg? See what I'm
There
saying?
you
Then
go.
you make this a little wider because
You want to see how Indian
this
look?
should be on a curve like this,
Looking at one.
coming up through here. It should be at least right here.
There you go.
Saying her leg is about that big.
Don't I look like you?
Her calf could have been that. Her calf got to be
And
bigger
I
than
can
her
really
feet.
say, like, my great grandma
So
is
you
full
bring
blooded
the calf
Cherokee.
back up to where you had it. That's
And I'm
perfect.
pretty sure your great grandma
And
was
then
full
bring the
blooded
leg
Cherokee.
down right
Your great
here.
grandma, right. So what does that tell you? How does three generations ago?
Listen to what I'm
was
saying.
full
Hold on.
blooded
Listen to
Cherokee.
what I'm saying.
My
Put this
grandmama
line
was
right here,
full
like
blooded
around
whatever.
here.
And now we African
Put this
American.
line about right here, around here. So
What
it's
does it
coming
tell
up
you?
to her crouch right up in
You see what I'm
here.
saying? We just pick
So
up
you
a
should
different
be on
name.
this line
It
right
get
here.
deep, man. And
With
it's
your
deeper
leg.
than that because they slaughtered us.
Yeah, right up
So
in
that
here.
energy is still here.
Yeah,
And they built
somewhere up in
cities
there.
over
And then
us.
come with the
Understand?
calf right
They
there.
built the whole city over us. Killed
On
the
that
chief
line
of
where
our
you
whole
drew it.
tribe.
Yeah.
Killed our whole
Now, don't
tribe
that
off.
look
The
a little
whole
better?
confederation off.
More in
Renamed the
the
land
shape.
Michigan and all these different cities and
See,
states.
if you make
Then
the thigh
made the main
part
city
fatter,
Chicago. The biggest
so it
city in the
look like
Midwest
the
is
whole
Chicago.
leg and the thigh.
And then you built the whole
And then
city
the
over where
calf
you
right
killed him
there
at and
coming
the
down
last of
into
the
the
Peoria
ankle and the
tribe.
feet.
And make that downtown like where all of downtown
So you want
Chicago
the ankle
at.
to be
That was all
size.
them was all
But
dead
a calf got to be
bodies.
bigger than the
It
ankle.
was so many
So you
dead
bring the
bodies
calf
right
up
there.
just like
And
you
they
had
built a whole downtown
on that
Chicago
line
over there.
right there. You know what I'm saying? So that
And
it'll
named it
meet the
Chicago.
thigh and
You
come
could have
down
named it
with the
anything.
thigh. The thigh
But they
got
lack
to
the
be fatter
soul.
though.
And they ain't creative. So they still want to name it after.
Okay, I'm
Make a
just
whole
saying.
team called the Chicago Blackhawks, been making billions
To
off
make
the
it
name.
look a little bit more realistic.
That's the name of the hockey team, Chicago
Yeah,
Blackhawks.
in the shapes.
Blackhawks was the actual chief, and so was Chicago. He was the chief of the whole Illinois Confederacy. We talking 12 states.
Let me see. I'll sketch it for you and show you what I'm
Gangsters.
talking about. And then if you don't
They
like
was
it,
gangsters.
you can always see race.
You seen the post I put up with Kills and Water. Come on now. They was gangsters, man. Man, y'all, man, how we was coming, man. Come on now. Come on now. How we was coming now. So it's nothing to fear. You got to remember, man, they took everything from us, man. They took everything from us. So what is this? What is
Can't do it tonight. Hell no. Still didn't do this shit. Yeah.
Did I not take this?